Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back to a Premier League and Europe doubleheader at Top Tier Talk. Elliot, what a week for you. Starting with you, 2-1 against Girona and 5-1 against Manchester City.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you very much for the introduction, Daniel. Yes, 2-1 in the Champions League. Let's start away with that at the moment. So yeah, came third in the Champions League stage now, so we don't have to play that dodgy group stage of what's next. Is it this Wednesday, I think, which is nice to have a nice little break. Um, which is yeah, as I say, it's nice going forward. And it was a bit of a weird game that I think Neto obviously had that game where he came in to eventually play one game at least for this season, and he had a stinker. I don't know what he did for that first goal. I think he thought he had enough speed to kind of come out to the ball, or if he thought the box was a little bit bigger than it is. And then obviously Dan Jim is a natural striker, so then curled it around it, and it was 1-0. So I was a bit, and then obviously, but then luckily we came back in the end and we got two goals and we managed to get the win out of it and we came third. So pretty happy about, as I say, I was saying to you guys again the Champions League last season. I was basically saying, if we, not last season, sorry, last week, if we were, if we were to win the Champions League this season, become fifth, then I'll be happy with that. But speaking of the Premier League, let's move on to the big game, the big daddy. 5-1 against Manchester City. What a game. What a game. Look at Chavez smirking. I love it. What can I say, honestly? I thought I think, to be fair, I think Man City played a little bit of good football as well. I think just outplayed them and we were at our home ground. I think the fans were behind us a lot and we were just trying to prove a point, I guess, to City to say that we're up there against you guys as winners of the Premier League and we can obviously face you guys. And we sent a big message, 5-1. Um, I think everyone on that pitch played their hearts out, and I love it. It's nice to see that finally to come to fruition. I don't know why that happens. It's like we go for like a weird kind of dynamic throughout this kind of New Year and Christmas period for like a month where we just kind of disappear, but then all of a sudden we come back for the last bit of charge. But yeah, as I say, like it's a nice feeling walking away from a giant like that with a big win. Two youngsters, MLS and Wanyeri, managing to get their goals and actually performing so very well against that team as well. As I say, there's not one player on our team I can fault and say who's actually had a pretty bad game. I think everyone was pretty spot on. Partey had a fantastic game. I'm not sure if you guys saw. As I said, you play him in that midfield position, he's an absolute beast. Rice had a good game. Odegaard had no one had a bad game, and I love it. And obviously Haaland, that was a pretty powerful header from how he managed his head back, by the way. But it's pretty nice to see at the end of the game that Arsenal played the Kendrick Lamar song "Humble" for Haaland to hear. But
I,
we can
I,
move
I think
on
this
to
is.
bigger things for the next game.
I was going to say. I think this is what he was on about. He wasn't slating you as a club. He was sort of like it almost be humble as to where you are. And the reaction from Arsenal fans, yes, is banter, but there's always you get some idiots that take it too far, go, oh,
Yeah.
this, that, this, that, and the other, and it's like that's the exact reason. Like, there's always going to be overreactions, but to overreact after essentially you, yes, against Man City, and you have beaten them 5-1, by all means, enjoy it. But it's one game out of it's in theory, if that was the first game of the season, you still have 37 games left. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not major. You haven't won the league off one game. I think that's what he was sort of going for. Um,
Yeah. No,
but
but
yeah,
yeah, but
yeah,
that
by all
again,
means,
I
yeah,
guess
enjoy it.
I understand both kind of concepts of why people are every other club in the world's angry at us for celebrating a win against a giant like that. But I also see obviously why you're saying like calm down a bit because obviously the league's not over. I understand both.
Yeah,
I understand why we're happy because obviously as you say, like being a team like that, you can't just tell us, oh, don't be happy about it. Do you know what I mean? We want to be able to
no,
like juice it up a bit and create a rivalry, for example, against like people like that because it like creates a bit of entertainment. That's the whole point of football, right? But then obviously on the second part of it, when you guys are saying, yeah, but you're going over the top, it's pretty this and that and the other, I understand it as well because we're not sitting in first position right now, so we don't have the rights to say, yeah, we can do that. It's fair. But then at the end of the
Um,
day, that's where they're trying to make our fans happy as well and have something to enjoy.
no, like fair enough
God
to you
forbid
guys.
having fun.
You guys beat City. I mean, it was I don't think anyone expected a 5-1 victory, but it just kind of to me, like as a rival fan, another fan, just makes me think like you guys are a bit sensitive. If like one
Sensitive.
one small comment from a player has like you've taken it so much to heart that like made like a little storyline about around it. Like even like Gabriel celebrating in his face and the celebration. I
I'm
don't know if
happy you
you
brought that
two
up.
find it.
I'm very,
Do you not find it a tiny
very
bit
happy you brought
cringy,
that up,
guys? It's
actually.
like if you'd won
Not
the
at all.
league, if
Let
it
me
was the
comment on
last game of
this.
the season against City and you guys won the league, 100% fair enough. You got a right to talk. But now it's just making me think more. Haaland was right because
No,
you
not at
guys
all.
haven't won anything, and you're acting like you're some big bollocks. You haven't like I can't lie, you don't have a leg to stand on, to be
I'm very
honest.
happy you brought up the Gabriel laughing in Haaland's face because you're as very hypocritical as Gary Neville himself. So when Haaland threw the ball at the back of Gabriel's head at Man City, that you were fine with that. But then even it wasn't as bad as that. He just laughed in his face, but that's worse. Like, can't do that. Oh my God, that's terrible.
Do you know what, I agree. I don't like get what football fans want these days because we all
Yeah,
complain about how there's just players are robotic, this and that. There's also a give and take. Like Arsenal fans themselves know that doing all this, if they don't win the league at the end of the season, they will be laughed at. But that's the risk in it, and it's
yeah,
fun. I feel like all this. I don't get. Okay, we're doing one podcast here. I don't get why Sky Sports spent about an hour talking about this when the actual game itself was really good. They haven't
yeah. It
really
was a great
looked
game.
more into the players on the pitch. Some of them were outstanding. I thought. Declan Rice was, I think Declan Rice has gone up a level since West Ham.
Hmm.
I don't know, like I thought he was unreal at West Ham. This is something else we're seeing from him. If you saw,
Agreed.
even in the end of the game, that last goal was 36 passes before it ended up in the back of the net. And it was a great finish, but actually build up everything. City, how many times do you see a team just play City off the park in the last minute of a game? And like I thought from a footballing aspect, it was a great game. Obviously, City are missing players. The one real thing I'd say I was a caution is drawing it back to us. We also beat City at the Etihad this season, and when that happened, it was a great day on the day, but it didn't reflect our season. I did
Mm-hmm.
think that day as well. This is a great night, but it doesn't mean that we're gonna get eighth or whatever we're striving for. So same for you. It's you kind of have to take into account City are actually in a shocking position right now. Half the team was missing. I know Haaland was playing, but and they're also dysfunctional this season. They haven't been able to cope without Rodri, which is why they're buying all these players. They bought Gonzalez as well. So you have to keep that in mind. But yeah, you enjoyed the day and it was great to see. I love
Absolutely.
the entertainment.
I just
Yeah,
hope
absolutely.
for
As you say,
Raul's
we've got to
sake.
take advantage of like these injuries though, because otherwise we won't get an opportunity. As you say, Roger will come back
Mm.
next season, and then we might not get another 5-1 like that. So
Oh no, you're right. Like I understand in like taking the opportunity and stuff, but like if you don't win the league out of the end of it, then it's just like
I love this
Then they deserve
benchmark.
the laughter they get as well at them.
Yeah,
Then
yeah, I
yeah.
know, but it's just like I just hope for your sake, El, like this is something to build on to win the league because you are start of the season the second favourites to win the league
Okay.
after City, and now to be honest, I still think your team's probably still better-ish than Liverpool's in terms of your project and stuff. So
Okay.
let's just see if you can build on, you can close the gap, and then if you do win the league out at the end of it, then obviously this was just like a milestone or like
Yeah,
the turning
spot on.
point, right?
Right,
I
absolutely.
think I was going to say, just touching on Liverpool as well. Like they have still got a game in hand, which could in turn obviously put them 9 points clear, which is,
It is Everton away
e-
as well.
yeah, but at this stage. But I saw a thing. I think like the last like three out of the last five times they've gone there, they've been draws or something like. But but
They
yeah,
got a bit
like
of manager bounce, haven't they, Everton? Anyway,
well,
so
yeah,
you
I was
never.
going to say like it's
You never
nine
know.
points is a massive again, provided obviously they win their game in hand. They have, as it stands, they're 6 points clear, so you're still well within. Obviously, still got a game
You're
against
still a
them, which
reach.
could
Yeah,
which could bring
absolutely.
it to 3 points, which is only
I
one
assume they
slip
got to
up in the
play each
week.
other. Have you played Liverpool in the second?
They played
We
them.
did.
They
We
played them at the
drew at their
Emirates.
Anfield.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
No, at Anfield, wasn't it?
I thought it was the Emirates 2-2, was it not? Salah scored late on.
I'm not sure.
But I'm
Anyway,
pretty sure you got to play them again, have you not?
yeah. We got to play them
Second
again,
to
but I'm
last
not
game
Arsenal
of
have
the
to
sure.
play
season or something,
Liverpool
can it?
at Anfield
Oh, at
Company.
Anfield.
Yeah, so you still got that's in your hand
That'll
there
be
to
a big
close the
testament
gap.
as well if we manage to get a win there.
Don't you
Is
Yeah,
that not
deserve the
like
league?
right at the end of the season, or am I just
Tenth of
imagining?
May, the
That,
third
yeah,
last
it's one of
game.
the fun
so
last games.
that could hand the league title to one of the two teams.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we'll all be there. Again,
Oh,
just sorry. No,
no,
go on,
go,
go
go,
on.
go. Finish
No,
your
no, go
point,
on.
and I'll go. No, no, go,
Oh,
no,
I
finish
was just
your,
going to
finish
say,
your.
like, mine was like a final point, almost like, how are you feeling about this week? Obviously, Newcastle in the cup. How are you feeling about that? Obviously, currently 2-0 down.
Mm. Tough at the moment, I guess. Good. I'm hoping. Well, obviously, it'd probably be a complete different hope, but at the moment, Newcastle are having like a rocky kind of path against Fulham, which is pretty nice. I'm hoping their morale's drop from that, so we can manage to kind of, as you say, take advantage of a deeper, what's it called, a dropped morale over the weekend, and we can try and get something back. Obviously, it's going to be tough at St James's Park, sure, but you never know. You never
Is
know
it
what
is
can
it one
happen.
of them? You thinking you get one, then you probably go on. You get the first goal,
Yeah,
like an early goal. Do you think you'll
and then
go
the
on third
momentum builds. Yeah,
or
I
two or
reckon so.
three?
Yeah,
Okay. And I'm pretty sure. I know it's been the same throughout the whole tournament. I don't know about semis. Does it go straight to penalties, or is it extra time penalties in the Carabao Cup?
Nah, it's got to be extra time on two
I'm not
legs,
sure.
surely.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But yeah, go on a minute. Sorry, as you started drinking.
I was gonna say, like, with the transfer window ending and stuff, how do you kind of feel about Arsenal not making any movements in that window? Do you think it's are you like angry at the
Happens.
owners? Are you just taking it on the chin? Like, what's your
I
thoughts? I
mean,
think some Arsenal
I mean,
fans are quite like thingy, aren't they? They're quite annoyed and
Sure,
frustrated. But
sure, yeah. A mix of both, really. I guess there's nothing we can do, so you have to take it on the chin and kind of make do with what you've got at this moment in time. But again, I kind of feel bad for Arteta. I bet money that he's obviously asking this board, can you get someone in, or can you get a few players in? And they went, like too busy humming and hawing, and we didn't get something in. Aston Villa have done fantastic and taken full advantage of some loan deals. You know, they got Asensio, Rashford, Disasi. Is it Disasi?
yeah,
They've
Yeah.
done fantastic, and we could have done that as well. We could have managed to get some sort of loan deal as well towards the end of the season to help our title charge. But for some reason, I don't think it's Arteta's fault. I think Arteta's pushing for something, but this board is too lacking testosterone to pull the fucking trigger. Who knows? Got to make do though.
I think brings us probably to the end of Arsenal. Chavez, we will move on to you.
Oh,
A brilliant 2-0 win in midweek
yeah.
in Europe, followed by a 2-0 loss to Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Yeah.
So that, and then I'll talk about the window. There's a lot to say, so I'll try to be quick. But we'll start with Bucharest. So I'll tell you what went right in that game, because obviously something went right clearly. Oh, have I disconnected?
no,
No,
you're
you're still
here.
here. No, I
Still
can
Oh,
here.
I wish I disconnected. Tried to
still
get out of that one.
still live and
So
direct.
unfortunately, got to talk about it. Yeah. So what went right? Basically, one thing, and we'll talk about this each week, and I'll explain to you how it's improving. Man United play with wing backs, right? So we have three up top, but those three up top are not wingers on the like side. It's two inside tens with a striker, right? So for the first time, we actually played two central players in that inside ten, rather than like Garnacho, Rashford, Anthony, Ahmad. We played Mainu and Ericsson. So what we saw was an actual system. Dallo and the other wing back, which was Mazraoui, got to push up because these two players, Mine and Ericsson, have no tendency to go on the wing, which is something that Garnacho, all these players are wingers. They're going to, in the middle of the game, they're going to have a habit and they're going to go to the wing. There's no need for them to do that. So Mine and Ericsson stayed central, wing backs pushed up. Dallo scored a goal from inside the box. We were brilliant, structurally outstanding. But again, it's Bucharest, so you can't get too happy. And then we played the Palace game. I think Amram wanted to send a message in that match because it was the last game before the transfer window ended, and we have Xerxes, we have Hoyland, strikers. Both of them did not start. Mine who started striker after playing inside left 10 and inside right 10 in the game before. And I think that was a statement. It didn't work, by the way. Mine didn't really do anything. And it was just I think he wanted to show the board he wants a striker. Didn't get one. It was a shame. The game itself, Palace were better than us. They have a better team, better organization. And we're lacking, man. We can't, our team can sometimes pull off what Amram wants. And then the following game, 3 days later, they're not going to be able to do it again. They don't have the legs to do it. They don't have the personalities to do it. Like, for example, Diego Dalot and Mazraoui, both of them are now victims of the system. Dalot cannot play wing back and he cannot play right centre back. He is a right back. It's not his fault. He's a good right back. He was a good one last season. He's finished. Like, he has no future at this club long term. But he's just going to have to fill it. And it's so unfortunate, by the way, because he's a good right back. But that's the manager we've bought into, which I'm happy with. But you see what happens when you bring in a manager and you haven't got players to back him up with.
Yeah.
Mazraoui is the same thing. The only position that man can play in this system is right centre back. He's not a right wing back. He's a right back or a right centre back. And we don't have a right back position. He's not attacking enough to play right wing back. So he's finished as well. He can only be a cover right centre back long term. We got Patrick Dorgu in the window, going into the window now, which is that guy has to hit the ground running. Because if he doesn't hit the ground running, I can't say we're in serious trouble because I don't think we'll get relegated. As bad as the situation is, I just think we can get 11 points. That's all we need, 11 points in 14 games. So I'm sure we can do that. But aside from that, the season's written off. The board didn't sign anyone, and I can tell you why. It's because it's a money-saving exercise because they know the season's over. It's just about building from summer and saving money right now. And we have a lot of debt. As I told you, the situation was bad last week, and that's what's happened. And Xerxes and Hoyland, now they have a half a season. One other issue is Hoyland is 22 today. It's his birthday. Happy birthday to him. I'm sure I'm the only Man United fan who's wished him that because we all hate him. But he's 22. He's not 27, guys. He's not a proven striker. He wasn't one before he came. He was just a prospect. Why then did Ineos decide to sign Xerxes, who's another not a proven striker? That was a mistake. We should have had someone experienced from the start of the season. And this is why when a striker who's young is doing badly, you don't even want to play them every game. You take them out a bit, don't you? So that they relax, they learn, they watch from the side and come back in. Hoyland doesn't have that luxury, and neither does Xerxes. So now it's like two strikers who are underconfident and they just got to keep playing. And it's a shambles. It's genuinely a shambles. I would have liked for us. I can't believe we watched some players like João Felix went to AC Milan on a straight loan. Why could we not have done that? He's an inside 10. We are so desperate. We have four attackers now.
And
We have
Kunku.
actually Hoyland, Ahmad, and Garnacho. That's
And
it.
Kunku
That's
for 60 mil was free as well. Was available as
yeah.
well.
We weren't going to spend money in there. We're in a position where they're not going to buy players that they're not sure about. They have their fixed profiles. Dorkin makes sense. He's top of like stats in terms of wing back in Europe across the last season for certain things that are very important. It makes sense. And the right wing back we're going to sign in the summer from Sporting Quenda, that makes sense as well. But it's not going to happen now. So we got an issue. And then the worst thing out of all those things happened. Sandro Martinez was our best centre back informed in the last month, and he's out ACL for the whole calendar year. So
ACL.
yeah, ACL, he's out. So
Pro.
now what the problem is, like, I don't like
There's
it's
too
very
many of them going
uncomfortable
about.
to see youngsters get pressure on them. But you've just given us a youngster who I would love to develop properly, Aiden Heaven, but he's now the only left-footed left centre back at the club. He might have to get chucked in straight away if Luke Shaw doesn't pattern up in the next week and fix himself, because apparently he might be in the squad. If not, then Aiden Heaven might have to be the option because Yoro can't play that position. So what's happening right now is the kids that are playing being played too much, and there's too much pressure on them. Certain kids are just being left in the academy, which I think will now be promoted. Chido will probably be promoted. He's not in the under 18 squad tonight. So it's very awkward. We're not developing players in the way we want to. And even Garnacho staying, will Garnacho learn this position? I don't know. It's not his position. So this left inside 10, but he has to try. And even guys, when he played that position after Mino had played it brilliantly against Bucharest, Garnacho was doing the same thing, hugging the touchline. He's a winger. He does it. And then Dalot doesn't know what to do because that space is occupied on the wing. It's very clear to see from a tactical point of view. I've never felt more like obvious at what I'm seeing. So it's a
Need you in
shambles.
there.
It's this right now, today's the 4th of Feb, is the worst position Man United have ever been in. Our whole season now relies on the Europa League winning it. Do we deserve to be in the Champions League? We do not. But if we win the Europa League, we would be in it. In
What's your
terms of
chances
the
of
league
winning
is
it, do
over.
you think?
Do we have a chance of winning it? I'll tell you why we won't win it. It's because the years we
No,
did, for example,
no. Are you gonna
no,
win it?
no. In the January window, one thing we used to do was we used to get our emergency striker. We've always been in this position. We did it with Cavani, who did really well in the Europa League, even scored in the final. We lost it, albeit. We even got Igalo one year as an emergency
Falcao,
loan, and he also
would you not
scored in the
got him?
Europa League. Weghorst, when he came in, he was
Falcao,
very
yeah.
important in a Carabao Cup final. These players were not good players. Maybe Cavani was, but the rest of them were flops. But on individual nights in cups, you need an option. We don't have that now. The option is gone. There's no new addition that could help us in these knockout nights. So this is what we have now, and we've got to play with it. And God forbid, Bruno Ahmad get injured. The two of them get injured, then 11 points in the league will look tough for us. And I said this from the start. Like, it's not a case of I was being sarcastic about looking down and seeing how many points ahead we are. This is the reality. This is the position where Palace were favourites in that game. One last stat I'll end it on with. It took Amram 7 games to lose 5 games at Old Trafford at home. 7 games, and he lost 5. He's lost 5 now. Would you like to know how much it took Ten Hag?
He didn't.
28. He did.
No.
28. Fergie, 88. Obviously, Fergie lost 5 games at home. Mourinho never lost a game at home at Old Trafford in 3 years.
Mad.
So this is the position where it's really that
Special
bad.
one for a reason, isn't
Yeah. So and I don't blame Amram one bit. He can, and also one thing, I absolutely despise some of our ex-pros that work right now saying that we should give up this system. Ten Hag, when he first came in, straight away said, "I'm going to abandon my principles." In a way, he said this, and we're going to play United DNA. This manager has come in, he's doing the opposite thing. He's saying, "I'm going to stick by it regardless of what happens." That's exactly what we want. We've already seen the other thing happen. So I don't get what this thing about changing the formation is. If you're going to change the formation, you sack Amram tonight. We're not going to do that. We're not changing formation. So we have to stick by him and see what happens. Obviously, that's not a question.
I think like where would you go in the summer? Like obviously as you've touched on like positions that you need and things like that. Is it like a go all out? Is it buy 2 players, 3 players that you need? Is it a whole squad? Like as you've said before, if you're that far in debt, would you just have a clear out and then go from the end of this? Do you know what I mean? Like
No, I
where
mean, I'll tell you who'll go. A lot of players will go. The problem is that, again, we've scored 28 goals in 24 games in the Prem this season. We are not scoring goals, yet we got rid of Rashford, Anthony, 2 attackers, and didn't get anyone. So
yeah.
this is what the worrying thing is. We have the amount of points we got halfway through, whatever. We're going to get less now because actually we've lost. Like Rashford was our third highest scorer in the league, and we lost him and didn't replace. So it's interesting. We're in a worse squad position now. But in terms of we'll get rid of Ericsson, we'll get rid of Casemiro, we'll get rid of Lindelof if we can, and then getting players. I'm sure they'll get the right wing back from Sporting. We have to get wing backs. It's not a question. And then we have Diego Leon, who's been signed. He'll be another wing back. That position is very important in the system, as I keep banging on about it. Then it's about getting inside tens. I don't think we're going to spend the money. I mean, it's at 60 million. That is outrageous. 60 million, them spending that in January. They would never do that. And I have no clue how they're going to be able to find the money to do that in summer because they keep saying we have to sell to get. And Garnacho almost went, one of our youngsters. That would have, and even Manu could go if we got the right bid. That was the statement from the club, unofficially
Why
through
is it so
sources. So
bad financially though?
300 million loss, players being on wages that are wages of a team that should be competing with City and Liverpool. Although now that's halved almost, so we're almost at half of Man City's wages because we've got rid of some players like Rashford is almost being fully paid by Villa now, which is great. But yeah, all the best to him, by the way. Glad he got out of it. Anthony, by the way, players leave us, they do really well. Would you like to know if Anthony was man of the match in his first
He
match
was.
at
He
Real
got an
Betis?
assist, didn't
Yes,
he?
he was. He was man of the match. So you can only tell what Rashford's going to do at Villa with
He's
Watkins
going
and
straight in
Rodgers
my
on the
FPL.
counter. It's going to be pure carnage. Like I'm worried Villa could do well.
Have you still got to play Villa this year? Can he play against you, or is that a
It's
I
probably
don't think so.
ineligible.
Probably,
Hopefully
yeah.
not, man. Hopefully not. Yeah.
would you welcome them two back if they play well?
Who's two?
Well, as you said, the two main attacking outlets like Rashford and Anthony, or are you not done with them? But do you think their time's up? Do you know what I
I don't think they can play that position. The position
mean?
it's really sad. Like we're a club built on wingers, but Rashford, Anthony, even Ahmad does well in the position, but they all hug the touchline, and it's becoming very obvious to see that they're not supposed to be on the wing. They are supposed to be inside. The wingers are supposed to wing backs. The wing backs basically have to do everything. They have to be world-class players, or at least have potential for that. These guys have to be good in tight situations. Is Rashford good in tight situations? He's not that player. He's one who needs to run in behind, and he's world class at that when he's at his best. So I think it's over. I think it's generally over for Rashford unless he can be our main striker, which I think hopefully, like I pray we get someone, Gyökeres or whoever it may be. I would like to think we'll get Gyökeres at the very least in the summer because we need to get one. One of her, Hoyland and Xerxes going to go. It has to be. And then we'll see how Chido develops. We've got Shea Lacey, who just tweeted saying he's returning. He's probably the best youngster at the academy right now, but he keeps getting injured. He's a brilliant player. He's like a young Messi. I'm not saying he's Messi, but hopefully he can come back in. We have some good youngsters, but you can't rely on youngsters, can you?
And just to finish from me, years and probably about 5 years ago when we first started this podcast, I said
Hmm.
Rashford would end up at an
Hmm.
Everton or an Aston Villa, and now 5 years down the line, he has ended up at Aston Villa on loan. So
Well done for that. I also said Garnacho would end up at Villa, but Villa are not the same Villa. That was a Villa that didn't they survive relegation
yeah,
based on an
they beat
incorrect
us and
VAR
stayed up
goal?
by about 3 points.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now this is a Villa that Rashford's upgraded. He's gone to a Champions League team that's looking to get a Champions League spot. He's upgraded for the 6 months.
so Amir, moving on to you,
Yes, sir.
the Monday
The
night
great,
game, 2-1 against West Ham.
yeah, the great important derby.
Hmm.
What can I say? The story of Chelsea's season. The defensive mistake leads to a goal, and then, well, this time we came back and won the game. It wasn't pretty. We didn't play particularly well during the game. I thought West Ham were unlucky to not get something out of the game, but there's been too many times this season we've been playing well and we haven't come out with the result we want. So I'm not going to complain about playing crap and getting the 3 points because now we're back in the top four after Arsenal's win. Enzo Fernandez, I thought had a very, very good performance. I mean, his ball recovery, distance covered and stuff, really showing why he's so integral to our team. Pedro Neto coming on, getting a goal. I know he hasn't been playing much recently, and yeah, Palmer again, an assist, kind of a deflected own goal. Good to see him back. 'Cause he's a bit of a dry spell. Wanted Jackson to get a goal, but I think he's 0-8 now, so it's kind of like plateaued since since that run at the start of the season. But yeah, no, it's going well. We're back in the top four. I hope we can maintain a top four spot because that's a positive for us. And we obviously had no Europe conference games because I think we're so far on top of that. I mean, it'd be embarrassing if we don't win it.
Yeah,
But
I think everyone said from the start, I mean, that Chelsea should be winning it.
I mean, any Premier League team in it really should win it. That's top six. I mean, I don't know how Spurs didn't win it when they were in it, but
They got knocked out of the
um,
groups, did they not?
Amir, I got a question.
hit me
Are you Maresca in or out?
in.
The tables are
And
turned.
May you signed someone today or
He's like
yesterday.
a youngster, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who is
For
it?
It was more
13
of the
million.
players we loaned out. I mean, Ben Chilwell got loaned out. Chukwuemeka got loaned out to Dortmund. Felix has gone. Disasi has gone. I mean, we've got rid of a lot of players, and somehow Sanchez is still in the club.
Yeah. Did he
So
start? Is he start the last game or was
no,
it
no, he
that
didn't
other?
start last game. It was
Oh,
Jorgensen, I think. I think his
fantastic.
name's Jorgensen. He
Did
was
he
all
play good?
right. He was all right. I mean, there wasn't much to go off. I
Yeah.
thought that Bowen chance was just a great finish from him. So don't look too much, but it looked okay
Do
on
you
the
think
ball.
he'll
It looked,
start again next game, or was it just like a
yeah, no,
one-off
he
contract?
should start again.
Maresca does
Definitely.
that. I've noticed that a lot. Like he'll play Sanchez, he'll make mistake after mistake, and have an all right game, and then he'll get dropped for one game. He'll bring him in, and then he'll bring
No, but
Sanchez
Sanchez
back in for
hasn't been all
five
right
games.
recently, hasn't he? Because the last game
He
was the
was
City game,
shocking.
wasn't it?
No,
Yeah.
but do you know what I mean? Like he'll make mistake after mistake. He'll have an all right, like
Mm,
just an average game, and then he'll get dropped after not making a massive error, and then Jorgensen will get a game, and then Sanchez will be off another five games. They'll get dropped on a random
yeah.
Wednesday.
I mean,
Like there's
the
no
only positive thing was I thought Reece James got about an hour, and then he came off. He did have an
yeah.
awkward landing. I thought he was going to be injured again,
So
but
right at the start, that was quite early on.
yeah, he fell on his ankle. It was quite a bad fall, but yeah, it'd be good for him to get back in the team because obviously we're a much better team with him. Caicedo, what can I say? One of the best DMs in the league. I don't know why you're not doing that
I mean,
face.
one thing I was going to say, so your next two games are against Brighton at Brighton. So I don't know if your team's going to stay at Brighton for a week, but you're playing them in the FA Cup and the league. If you were to lose one and win one, what would you rather?
I'd rather
Good question.
progress in the FA Cup because it will lead to a
Really?
trophy. I think so.
It's the only
But
chance of their
losing could be
trophy, isn't it?
bad for
Is that
the
yeah? But there's
top.
only a
Do you have a chance to win the FA Cup this season, Elliot? Does Arsenal have a chance?
Oh
That's funny.
yeah,
No, they
you
don't.
got knocked out by Joshua
You're a 2-0
Xerxes.
deficit against Newcastle and
Rare
not
goal.
looking like you're going
That's
to
right,
win the
mate.
league
We're
either.
focusing
So
on bigger and better things. Champions
listen, you've been
League,
focusing on the. You said,
UCL, European, like
guys, have we not heard this
giants.
talk last season? And then they bottled it against Bayern, and they bottled it against Villa,
We
and
did
then
bottle it against Bayern. We got cheered out against
and
Bayern.
then they didn't apparently compete in the FA Cup and League Cup. I mean,
Oh,
Arteta's got
who's
a
in your
history.
side of the draw in the Champions League? Are you looking like, is it looking
I'm not
realistic?
sure. I'm not sure.
I
Yeah, I
think
think
they
it's
got
on
you. It's Juve
or final.
final or someone else or something like that. It got a decent draw, but
Yeah,
obviously
we're winning it. Don't worry.
Arsenal in the Europe is obviously doesn't go hand in hand, does it? So
Yeah, well, we'll change that this season. It's fine.
yeah, no, we've heard it too many times. So no, I don't think they're going to do anything in Europe. The league's probably Arsenal's best chance at a trophy, even though they're 9 points behind. Going to be so could be Arteta out.
Just to slide into you, Arteta.
Oh, are you Arteta out this season
No, mate, I'm not at all.
after last match? No, okay.
Nope, nope.
You staying humble?
Staying humble. Sit down. Be humble.
So as you Amorim in a row?
Oh,
Oh, Dan, we could be in League One.
Dan,
I'd fight with Amram.
Dan, are you whatever your manager is?
No, I'm
Still
not
Tom
Tom
Cleverley?
Cleverley.
Whoever
I'm
is.
not Tom Cleverley. I'm Pozzo
He's still
out.
cleverly.
Yeah, keep him.
everyone
I,
at
I,
Watford's always someone out. It's just the one
I
person
would.
always has to be out at one point. They can't
Would
stay.
just it's there's no point we can. It's
Where
just
are you? Top six?
no, we're ninth, eighth, ninth, but
How
our
many points?
it's just 30 something, I think
Off.
40. No. Oh no, we're only 3 points off, I think, but it's a massive lie. It's one of those ones that's very deceiving. Like
Mm.
it, we have an 18-year-old backup striker who now probably has to play because our actual striker is brain dead and getting himself sent off for 3 games, who hasn't scored a senior goal. Our squad's been neglected for years. We've only got like basically lone centre backs apart from two or three that are actually our players. So we start sending players out on
Dan,
loan.
why
Like
did Porteous get loaned out? I thought he was your main
exactly.
centre back.
Like
Their main centre, one of their main
like
backline centre
don't
backs
get me
got loaned
wrong.
out.
Don't get me
Capacity.
wrong. He can be brain dead at times, and I'm sure most Watford fans would agree with that. But you don't weaken your squad, especially when you're only. Don't get me wrong. Burnley, Leeds, and Sheffield are probably going to be the teams that go up. Like no transfer window that we could have possibly had, unless we would have spent every penny that anyone in the club has got, would have got us into the Premier League via the playoffs. But we've gone backwards, and I think the funniest thing, and you'll laugh at this. So we had Preston at home on the 3rd of or something, 22nd, 23rd of Jan. And in I believe it was our sporting director, Gianluca Nani. I'm pretty sure it was him in his program notes came out and said, "Oh, we're going to have a positive end to the transfer window, and we're going to have a strong final 10 days." At this point, there was 13 days, 14 days left of the transfer window. What's he going to do for the next 3 days after? Like he's just getting stuff right. It's just poor. We signed someone in the summer for £1 million, and any guesses of what we did in January?
Sold him.
Fuck all,
We
bruv.
we sent him back to the club he came from on a free transfer. What a like how
That's just
Dan, what about the
losing million
how
protest?
bucks.
brain
How the
dead.
protest? There was a protest, wasn't there?
Yeah, I say unfortunately, but thankfully I did miss the game on Saturday. I did watch it obviously on Sky. Yeah, it was a half organised protest via people on Twitter. Like my dad asked me about it, obviously not on Twitter, so he didn't see what it was for, what was going on, and so on. It was just seeing other torches towards the director's box. So yeah, it
How
wasn't the
many
thing that
people?
was. It looked about
Um,
seven. Like there was,
7 people.
Seven.
but obviously you could see it was visible, but it was poorly organised. But obviously people like the message didn't get around. But I think the fact that we've left January with a weaker squad than we started it with is a failure of the club. B, Tom's going to be gone within the next. Well, I can't see us win any of our next 5 games, so I reckon he'll be gone. The Luton game is the 23rd of Feb. He'll be gone by then, if not after that game. That's my call for now.
Huge.
Suppose that's the end of the episode.
Absolutely.
Regulars, thank you very much for watching, and until next week, goodbye.